Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Justin, and let's get right into it. I wanted to make a pretty in-depth video to share what I'm finding as I'm looking into Kccpad, Ethpad, and in particular these launches and the launch pads that maybe looks like they're going to be giving some airdrops away, and that looks like it's going to be on Bscpad and Tronpad. All right, that's a lot of pads. So let's get right into it. I've actually looked kind of high and low on this, and so I just want to share my thoughts with you all because I think this video is going to be very informative. And whether or not you even partake if you partake in these launches, hopefully you'll gather some information that can help you in the future as you're thinking about this space and some of these opportunities. So, without further ado, here's what I found. First off, if you are a United States resident, which I am, this may be something that you might not be able to participate in an ideal fashion. And I'm just going to say it flat out. And here's why. So here's what I found. At least with Kccpad, it looks like there's going to be an airdrop, right? So what's an airdrop? It's free tokens. How do you get the airdrop? If you hold a certain number of either Bscpad or Tronpad. Now, Bscpad has been a very successful launch pad. Tronpad was just launched on Bscpad, and Tronpad ended up doing like a 200 and something X. So, with that being said, how much do you need in order to partake? Well, Bscpad, I think at the time of this writing, at least for the minimum tier, I don't know, it looked like it was like maybe $7 or $8 grand. And with Tronpad, you'd need about $2 grand, let's say. Now, what do you do with them? Then you need to stake them, right? So on their platforms, then you would stake them. So I looked particularly into the Tronpad one, and the Tronpad one. So you stake them. Now here's the deal, right? And there's a couple nuances. If you're going to stake Tronpad, first off, I found that I had to use my desktop. I had to use TronLink Wallet. You had to use the browser. You have to go to tronpad.network. And then connect your wallet that way. You go through the approval process. You stake your coins. Okay, great. Next, if you want to withdraw your stake on Tronpad, it takes 7 days for you to actually be able to withdraw. So during that time, it's just kind of a waiting process. But here's the kicker for the U.S. customers, the U.S. residents, I should say, is the KYC. And I've talked about that before, but in some ways, maybe this is good. Maybe this is meant to, protect consumers. But in a lot of ways, it does prevent U.S. residents and others. There are other countries that fall into this branch that just can't access this. And so, there's a little echo here. So what happens is, what if there is KYC? Well, you could potentially buy Tronpad, right? On Pancake Swap, you can send it over, you can stake it. But what happens if then you stake it so you can participate in these airdrops or future IDOs, right? I mean, these IDOs, they're kind of like the ICOs or it's basically, except the IDOs, you get your coins, you get them right away, right? Sometimes the same day the launch happens. Sometimes there's vesting periods, right? You don't necessarily get all your coins all at once. But here's the deal, right? If there's KYC in your country, you could end up putting Tronpad, potentially staking it up, thinking that you're going to receive these things, and then either you never receive any of this stuff that we're talking about, you never receive any of the launches for Kccpad, Ethpad, whatnot, or maybe you do, but then you can't withdraw nothing because of KYC. And potentially, you could potentially end up losing your Tronpad that you ended up staking because you can't get it off. So if you're a US, I mean, I hope that this is helping you. You know, if you guys are liking this content, you know, please, you know, subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot. You know, we're trying to hit 500 subscribers on the channel, but also, you know, hit some likes, smash up some likes. That tells me and tells others that this is, you know, a video that provides some content. People got some value with, and you know, the algorithms can share it with more people. I'm just trying to be real and trying to share what, you know, kind of how I'm seeing things and going through the numbers in my head and sharing my thoughts out loud. Now, so that's for US residents. Now, I'm not saying it's all over from here, okay? But I want you to be aware of the potential risks. And hey, you know, if there's something that you know and you want to share it in the comments below to help us all, please do, by any means. So then I'm starting to think, okay, so if this is just for an airdrop, what are the risks? What are the rewards? Well, obviously the risk of having your Tronpad potentially locked up and you can never withdraw it, that's a pretty big risk, especially if you're looking at like two grand minimum just to enter into this potential airdrop and future potential IDOs. Now, these things can be lucrative, but here's the other deal. Say it's an airdrop, right? Say you want to do it, right? You say, okay, I'm going to take the risk, or I'm in a country where I can do this, okay? So you go, you get your Tronpad, you stake it, great. So now you're eligible for these airdrops of these tokens. So there's a few things we want to keep in mind. One is, well, what happens, you know, at the launch? And number two, how much are we actually getting, right? So I've yet to actually see how much we're getting for in an airdrop. You know, would you get $5 worth of Kccpad or Ethpad, you know, for a minimum, you know, $2,000, you know, Tronpad moon tier? Will it be $50? I don't know. But without knowing the numbers, you know, that obviously plays into it. But the second thing is if you've looked at some of the successful launches at launch, like when I talked about Tronpad, right? When Tronpad launched, you know, 200 and something X, okay? Now, but here's the deal. That's from the initial price, right? And not everybody is getting it at the initial price. And not everybody, you don't have the authority, you don't have the right to say, hey, I want to just throw as much money as I can into this, you know, and buy it at the cheapest price. No, you're given an allocation in these IDOs, okay? Now, what we were talking about before is an airdrop, okay? So you have no say. I mean, it's, you know, you'll just get it if you get it. But when you participate in IDOs, and in the Ethpad one on Friday, it looks like there may be this as well. You may have the additional chance to purchase during the IDO. But here's how this works, right? So let's say if they start, I'm just going to use, I think the Ethpad is starting at 95,000 market cap, and the Kccpad at 25,000 market cap. Now, these are low market caps, and if you can kind of compare to some of the other, you know, compare it to Bscpad, compare it to Tronpad, you know, you can kind of get an idea. Okay, like if Tronpad now, I mean, I think it was like 12 million or something market cap. Okay, so if you do the math, okay, if you're starting something at $25,000 market cap, but you've got a lot of people, you've got thousands of people that want to participate, how much allocation are you going to get? Are you going to be able to, you know, purchase $10 worth of that thing? Are you going to be able to purchase $50 worth of that thing? So let's take an example. Let's just assume, okay, and again, this is only if you're able to get it at that price. Whether or not it's airdropped or you're purchasing through an IDO, fine. Let's just assume you got $10 worth at a $25,000 start. Okay. And what if it went 10x? Then what's 25,000 times 10? 250,000. That's still pretty low. All right. What about 100x? 2.5 million. Still pretty low, right? Potentially for Kccpad, KuCoin community chain. All right. So now we're talking. Now we're in the hundreds of possible X's. And you can kind of see where we're going from here, right? You know, if 2.5 million would have been 100x if you're starting at 25,000, which is what the Kccpad launch is doing. If you reach, say, 4 times that, you get to 10 million. 10 10 million. Wow, now you're at a 400x. This is possible. Now, what I wanted to go and talk about is if you look at these actual launches when they happen, sometimes you've got, not everybody's going to capitalize. Like when I say 250x, what does that actually mean? Well, if you want to turn every dollar into $250, that means you actually gotta have it at $1 and you gotta sell it at 250, right? It does you no good if it goes up all the way and then it goes back down, and then maybe it's, settles at like 50x. Okay, fine, you're still making some money. But how many people are actually going to capture, that ultimate, right? Or anywhere near there. So you got to be realistic. And if you look at some of these launches, sometimes it's a matter of minutes, sometimes it's 15 minutes, a half an hour. And in some cases, you'll see like a steady rise, initially when the coin is launched. Maybe it lasts for an hour or 2 or 3, and then you start to come back down. And then a lot of them kind of, they kind of like flatline and just settle out for a while. Okay. So why is that important? Well, it's important because if you actually want to think about like the risk that you might be taking, if there is any risk, depending on where you are and the perceived risk, okay, and then how much you might be able to make. So let's think about it. So let's just say if you are able to capture, if you're given $10 allocation, whether it's an IDO or an airdrop, and you're able to capture 100x, well, how much is that? That means $10 turned into $1,000. So $1,000 is really what we're talking about. You made $1,000 on this. Well, what was your risk? Well, I mean, if you're in a country like the US, I mean, we talked about the risk. Maybe you had to put 2,000 Tronpad into this just to be eligible. And then what if you can't withdraw your Tronpad, after the 7 days, even after you unstake because it's locked up because of KYC? Well, okay, so now you did all this just for $1,000, but you actually paid $2,000 in Tronpad. And now what are you gonna do? Now you got a whole different boat, right? You're gonna move to a different country. You're gonna try and get dual citizenship or something. You're gonna, you tell me, okay? But there's another risk. The other risk is that what if the value of, say, Tronpad token, okay, dips? So for instance, let's say Tronpad right now is selling about, I think, like 4 cents, okay? It's fallen a lot from, if you look at the chart of Tronpad, go on CoinGecko, it's fallen a lot since it's, IDO. So hopefully, people that got in, they made some money and it looks like people are cashing out, they're getting out. But here's the deal. What if you get into this, you put in your $2,000, right? So you can get that moon tier, get some guaranteed allocation in any IDO, maybe get these airdrops, whatever. But what happens if this isn't the end of the drop? Because it's dropped massively, right? So what if you get into this and then it ends up dropping to a penny? All right, now your $2,000 just went to $500, okay? And even if you made $1,000, on Kccpad, you got 100x and you cashed out, you got $10 allocation, you cashed out. You're still in the hole, right? 500 plus 1,000, that's only 1,500, and you started with 2,000, so you're still in the hole. But it's not all bad, right? If you can participate these, because that's just one, right? So then what if you've got Kccpad on Monday? Then you've got, Ethpad on Friday, right? And it does the same thing. And then you got another one, last week was Cross Wallet, and then you had something else. So launch pads can be very lucrative, right? Because you're basically, even though you don't get a lot of allocation, right? You don't get the ability to just say, hey, I think that this thing's going to do 100x. This thing's going to do maybe 250x or whatever. I'm going to go all in. You can't do that, right? Now, there is an option with the Kccpad. They're just calling it a fair launch. So when this thing does launch, I actually don't even know where it's launched. I don't know if it's launched on the KuCoin chain, if it's going to be on the Binance Smart Chain, if it's going to be on Tron. I have no clue what they're doing. I haven't even decided, how I'm going to play or if I'm going to play. Obviously, I'm in the US, so this is a different game for me. But this next piece is something that potentially I could play that game because it's just buying and selling a token. No KYC when you're just, you're doing on PancakeSwap or whatever. But where are we going with this? So when this launches, they're calling it a fair launch. So if it's starting at $25,000 market cap, right? And then there's the ability and it hits the market and people are going to buy and buy and buy and buy as this goes up. Maybe you can actually, maybe at that point, you can actually, buy as much as you want, but you got to be quick, you got to be fast. If you're familiar with these decentralized exchanges, when you're trying to buy them, you got to set your slippage usually much, much higher. Otherwise, you're not going to get your order filled. And then if you're not getting your order filled right away, what happens to the price in the meantime? The price keeps rising and rising and rising. And if the price keeps rising, and we all know this, right? The early stages, that's where you make your money, because once this thing already goes up a 10x, then any potential gains, you got to divide by 10. So for instance, right, if you were expecting 100x, right, but you couldn't get it right away, right? You couldn't get whatever, and you had to buy it at, a 10x already, 10 times, and, it already went up 10x. So you're not going to get 100x, right? If you were expecting 100x, you're not going to get 100. It's already gone up 10x. And you might be thinking, oh, well, maybe I'll get a 90x, right? Because 100x minus 10x, I'll get a 90. No, it doesn't work that way, right? You got to divide it. So it's 100x divided by that 10x that already happened. So that's only another 10x. So, and if you look, I'm telling you, if you go look at the charts of these coins, right, that go through these launches, most of them, they go up and then they go down and then they settle, right? I'm not saying they won't come back or they won't be good projects. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying at launch. And so if you're not there, and again, it's not just you. Not only you're competing with how fast you can do it, but you're competing with bots that are they're going to beat you, right? They're going to beat you. They're programmed to beat you. So you might think that you're putting in a good price and you're ended up getting like a massive, you ended up buying, and then, the best you can hope for, is like a 2 or 3x because you already bought it so high. And then, then you didn't have time because you didn't realize it, and then you didn't cash out, and then it comes back down, and then you lost money on the launch just doing it that way. So, that's the open market, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's fair but listen, anybody can have bots, I guess. That's the world we live in, right? But the IDOs, okay, and I've spoken about other IDO platforms, and, being in the United States, sometimes it is a killer because you see these opportunities. Do I think that Kccpad and Ethpad here, Ethpad, whatever you want to call it, probably good opportunity? I do. I do think that, seeing what happened with Tronpad when it came out, do I think this is, fairly similar? I mean, KuCoin chain is, come on here, right? But the question is how do you play it? So if you're in the United States, right, what are you going to do? Are you going to take the chance that, going to buy some Bscpad or buy some Tronpad and take the chance, but you can't do the KYC? Maybe there's another way you know how to do it. I don't know, but you write in the comments if there is. But, or are you going to try and play it a different way? You're going to try and maybe wait till it comes out in the launch. You're going to try and, I don't know. But, if you're in one of those countries, that you can participate, then, maybe this is something that you can get in on. You can make some money. And, but I just want you to be realistic. I mean, when people are advertising 1000x, yeah, it could happen. Is it going to happen to you? Most likely not, right? Because there's very, very few people that are going to be able to sell at that top. But hey, even if you got a 250x, that's pretty good. But in dollar amounts, what's that going to equate to? Is it going to be 250 times a $10 allocation or a $10 airdrop, right? And what's that? Like $2,500? Okay. Hey, that's good, right? I mean, if there's very little risk that you perceive getting into this, and you don't think that the token itself is volatile, and it's not going to drop, before you try and cash out, or unstake, and then you got to wait 7 days at least with Tronpad. Okay. Now, what if you get more allocation, right? What if you were able to get, $50 allocation, and then you get a 250x? Well, now you're starting to talk, right? Now we're at like, $12,500. Am I doing that right here? Is that right? I think that's right. So you get what I'm saying. It's gonna depend on where you start, and it's but I hope that this kind of helps you understand the dynamics of all of this. And so, and just you may not even be able to participate because you just can't. But if you can, just understand, this can be pretty quick gains. And if you can compound these over and over and over again, and especially if the launchpad you're getting into continues to have, and you're able to get into these, continues to have solid projects that continually rinse and repeat and flush out gains, then it's not so much about, did I get a 50x or a 250x? It's, how often, and what kind of allocation, how many times. It's kind of like money printing, if you will, right? If you're able to kind of just, get a minimum tier for right now for like $2,000, right? On Tronpad, you get a minimum, for guaranteed allocation. And then every once in a while, you just get to print a few $100 or a few $1,000 or maybe even more, even on small allocations. I mean, that's possible, right? Not every IDO is going to be successful like that, and obviously you're not going to be selling, that's why I say, I mean, reality is, yeah, with a guaranteed allocation, at least you're getting in, at the rock bottom price, but you don't know when you're going to be selling. You don't know, nobody knows how high it's going to go, and you have no clue, what you're going to capture. So, it's not necessarily, after the fact that you can say, oh, it was a 250x, and, everybody that participated, it doesn't usually work that way, right? Some will, most won't. And then, some will have taken profit along the way. And so what else is there about this? It's a little longer, but I wanted to go a little bit more in depth because it was something that I was thinking a lot about over the last day. And I do think that, for some folks, if you do partake in this, come back to this video. I mean, I appreciate it, and just share it with the folks, kind of your comments and your experience, what you did, how you did it. If you're from a country that you can participate, I mean, it'd be nice, let us know, if you're from a country that can't participate or it's harder to participate, like in the US, let me know your thoughts. If you like this content, please subscribe. I love having you guys on the channel. The goal is to help us all and figure this all out and find good opportunities to make some good money. And, we're always trying to minimize risk, maximize return. And sometimes, I mean, hey, this is crypto, right? I mean, we're learning as we go, and there are opportunities sometimes that look so good, but we maybe just can't capture them the way that, that ideally we think in our heads or we want to. But you know what? There's always opportunities right around the corner. So hopefully it's just kind of preparing and being ready for when those opportunities come. And then, just on a last note is, when I'm thinking about the timing of all of this, right? So right now, I mean, this is going to happen, right? We're in July here. This is going to happen Monday for Kccpad. It's going to happen Friday for Ethpad. And, but I mean, if you guys are looking at the market with Bitcoin, we know Bitcoin, whatever Bitcoin does, Bitcoin wants to do. And Bitcoin, there's these grayscale, the grayscale news coming out, and people are saying maybe it's going to add some sell pressure. And, this is right around the same time. And I think about this because, looking at the macro factors, right? If Bitcoin takes a tank, a dump, whatever you want to call it, the altcoins, the smaller coins, in this case, like the Bscpad or the Tronpad, if you're looking, and any of the IDOs that we might be talking about, then they might even tank even harder. So, weighing the risk and reward of like, when is it a good environment to get into this? Because, if we're not so worried that, Bitcoin's, maybe going down to 15K, 10K, whatever people, who knows, right? But the reality is, it's certainly feels like more of a possibility now more than ever. And, so, I could understand if you want to kind of play the game, if you could buy these, stake them, play in the IDO for a few hours, and then unstake them and get them out, put it back in a stable coin or whatever else you want. But at least with Tronpad, if you've got to wait at least 7 days after you end your stake, and also, and I just I found this out because I was just playing around today, right? So I staked a very small amount, right? Because I'm thinking to myself, well, do I even want to do this? But let me just walk through the process so I can stake this very small amount. And then I unstaked a little bit. And what I learned going through this process, is, well, one, I may never get them back regardless. But, it's probably a few bucks, like literally, I'm talking like it was a very, very small amount. So it might have been just a few dollars that I staked because I just wanted to see how this was going to work. But, and if there's KYC, okay, fine. Like, listen, it is what it is. I'm not going to fret over that. But what was I getting at? Oh, but then I said, okay, well, let me unstake. Let me see how this process works because, they say it's 7 days. And here's what happened. Not only did the countdown on Tronpad start, for my 7 days. So I unstake. It says, okay, but I can't withdraw for 7 days. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me go do like another 50 cents or a dollar or whatever, a really small stake to see what would happen if I want to unstake more. And they said, nope, you can only have one unstake request. So literally what this shows me is if you didn't even know that, if you don't do it all at once, now I got to wait 7 days. I mean, obviously for me, it's like, it's a few bucks. So this to me, if you can't tell, I'm already starting to think through this and I'm not sure that for me as an American right now, given the fact that, we're going into this tomorrow and I'm not sure how the KYC is necessarily going to impact my decision. This is probably something that I'm more likely to sit on the sidelines on the IDO here, right? But I wanted to bring this to you because I am always looking for, launch pads or opportunities that are friendly to the United States, right? One of the reasons why KuCoin, just as an exchange, I'm not talking about their newly launched community chain, which probably will be talking a lot more about that in the next coming weeks and months, because if you're not familiar with the KuCoin community chain, it looks, smells, a lot like the beginnings of like the Binance Smart Chain, okay? And if you're familiar with the KuCoin exchange itself, KuCoin is one of the very few exchanges that has been very friendly without KYC. So what does that mean? You can send funds to KuCoin, the exchange, you can trade, and KuCoin has a vast list of coins. I mean, if you want to talk about, not just like the major coins, if you want to go, some of the just really low cap good gems, but you don't want to go and pay all the high fees and, through Ethereum and put them in your own wallet, then yeah, KuCoin is a centralized exchange. But if you want to get some access and you're okay with understanding that risk, KuCoin has no KYC, which means you can do what you want and then you send it off the exchange, right? So, I mean, I say do what you want. I guess you can. I mean, I mean, you're still, when you're paying taxes, obviously, you could still, you still pay taxes on any transactions, and, KuCoin has their APIs and, you can put it in your tax software and all that. That's not what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about is just the ability to enter, to play the game. Because, if you're familiar, like Binance, right? Binance is one of the largest exchanges centralized in the world. But if you're in the United States, like I am, you're probably not even there. You're not even playing. And maybe you are because you're on Binance.us. Now, but if you're in the state of New York like I am, we ain't even allowed on that. So, there's things that, you navigate and you learn. And, I guess I probably should have actually looked into the KYC, issue initially, but I was just kind of excited to go through this process because I saw what happened with Tronpad, and I did not partake in that. But when I saw that this was kind of, looked like it was being backed by Bluezilla, same type of thing, and I know Bscpad has had awesome success with IDOs and traction and, with Launchpad. So I said, I want to look into it. But, unfortunately, I got to say, kind of let down being here, in the United States. I mean, I love the U.S., don't get me wrong. I love the U.S., love the red, white, and blue. But, it's the crypto game is different depending on where you live. So, yeah, I mean, we're talking about KuCoin, and what else is there to say about that? So how do we do? Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I think that I think I've covered most of it. I mean, some people, I think in the last video they asked, well, where do you buy the, let's say you don't want to do the IDOs, you don't want to participate in all that, or you can't. Where do you buy these? So I actually don't know the exact answer to that. I haven't even looked into, if I'm going to participate in these in launch. And the reason, I guess, the way I look at it is, even though it sounds great, like, oh yeah, participate in the launch and this is gonna be great, the chances of me, I think, probably getting a pretty good low price, on the entry, is probably not super great considering how fast these go. I mean, you got maybe 15 minutes. If you're within a lot of these, if you're within the first 15 minutes, maybe you can kind of get in, make some money and get out. But maybe not. And, but yeah, depending on, but you do have to know where they're going to come out. And so, I guess as we get closer, I think they've even said, they'll probably announce, where they're going to be. And if you want to do that, you got to have your wallets ready, locked and loaded with the currency that you'll likely need for that pair, right? If it's going to be on the BSC chain, Binance Smart Chain, Pancake Swap, you'll want some BNB. If it's going to be on the KuCoin community chain, I mean, that's a new one, so you might want to look into that, and get your KCS. Uniswap, if it's on the Ethereum chain when it's launched or released. But I don't know, it's I guess sometimes the way I think about it is, if, how do I put it, there's a lot of opportunities out there, but sometimes I don't like to be rushed. I want to do some good due diligence. Sometimes sometimes you got to pull the trigger, and sometimes you just got to make a decision, and you don't have much time, right? I mean, sometimes you got a matter of days, sometimes you got a matter of hours or minutes, and you just got to kind of trust your gut. But, sometimes it's, well, do I feel like I did, a little bit of research for nothing? Am I really going to capitalize on this? I don't know. But I guess the way I look at it is, in the grand scheme of things, all is not necessarily lost, because from what I've learned in my crypto journey, the things that I, lost money on, or the things that I maybe thought I was wasting my time on, some of those things actually eventually ended up, to, reward me, quite heavily, financially, later on the road when I wasn't expecting it, but I had those skills, right? I like, whether it's, learning about airdrops and how to participate, whether it's learning about dexes, whether it's learning about, layer one solutions, whether it was learning about margin trading, and stop loss orders, or, whatever it might be. So all in all, I mean, if you can't tell, I mean, I make videos and I walk around, and sometimes I drive, and, I love crypto because, to me, it's not just about the gains. I think the gains are exciting, and that's, what we talk about. And, on this channel, I look forward to talking about other things. Like I just shot a video the other day with, just talking about, mentioning ARK Invest and exponential financial planning, other things. But right now, crypto is, it's the hot topic. And, we're probably, this is pretty exciting time. And so whether or not, you're in the place or the time, maybe you don't have a lot of money, maybe you do, maybe this cycle isn't going to be the one that, that does a whole lot for you. But, I think the more that you get involved, the more that you learn. And if it's fun, hopefully it'll set you up for some future success. And hopefully, it'll just give you, some good opportunities to learn about business, to learn about finance, to learn about decentralization, to learn about, technology, to learn about, how this empowers people around the world, how these revolutions, if you will, truly, probably come, once in a, I don't know, this one, I can't even say once in a generation anymore. I feel like, this is maybe once in a species, right? Like, the human race now is gotten to the point where we are engineering with our brains, money, and this was brought to us, with Bitcoin, and now, others, and we're building upon it with smart contracts, and just a whole ecosystem. And and you learn too. You learn about human emotion. You learn about money. You learn about technical stuff, but you also learn about the bad side of stuff. You learn about scammers and rug pulls, and just like people just stealing your money, or people just creating something and then lying to your face and running off with crypto's interesting. I mean, it's not for the faint of heart, but it's also, I do believe that there's a lot of people out there that are really doing good and want to do good, and hopefully in the end those are going to be the ones that prevail, right? Because what do they say? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right? So, this is a learning experience, and I always think that it's actually good to fail, but it's good to fail forward, and it's good to fail fast. Right? I mean, nobody wants to fail, but failure is kind of inevitable on your way to success, right? For the vast majority of us, right? And then you develop these kind of tactics and these strategies and these skills, so that if you do fail, how do I minimize risk and maximize return? How do I learn from previous successes or previous failures? And so this is a journey, and that's why I go for walks, and that's why I try and share this stuff with you. And it's interesting, I'm actually walking here. I mean, the sky is super, super gorgeous, but I don't know exactly how to get seeing the sky the whole time, because every time I turn the camera, I don't know, it is what it is. But I think you guys have seen it, and I'm trying to think if there's anything. I mean, I just want to shoot a longer video because I've been shooting a few videos, but it's been less and less recently, just because one, it's the summertime and I'm enjoying myself, and I'm doing other things, and two, the market is it is doing what it's doing. But I'm also kind of taking more of a deep dive and looking at now there's a little bit more time to actually look into fundamentals and to look into some of these things, and and then there's just strategy, right? I mean, so I guess the way I look at it is, you may not participate in everything all the time, but if you're ready, then when an opportunity does come around, hopefully you'll be able to pounce on it, and you may win, you may lose, but at least you've prepared yourself, you've put in the hard work to educate yourself, and that's kind of the best we can do. So, all right, I guess that's it. I think that, we'll see whatever happens over this week. Either way, it's something that I probably am going to just follow. If you're going to be following these, these launches, cool, right? And yeah, I'm trying to, I guess I'm just, I just wanted to shoot a video just to kind of reflect the way I see it. And, that's about it. So, yeah. And, it's interesting. I don't come here that often, but this field is actually, so I'm what am I, 37 years old now. But this field is it's at the back of my elementary school. And this is where I grew up when I was younger. And, the reason I guess I'm just thinking, when I walked up the hill here and now I'm seeing this field, we used to come out here and we used to run, during gym class, and then a couple times a year, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade. No, wait, was it? Yeah, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. We had these races called the micro mini marathon. I mean, it was probably, less than a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile run. And I was a pretty good runner, but I wasn't the best in my class. But I was up there. And what's interesting is I don't really run much anymore, but thinking about what we were just talking about with preparing yourself, and how sometimes your successes come later and later. I remember running here. I remember one time, like I think I got beat by the girl in the gym class, and right around this field, probably as I think fifth grade, I think it was. And I remembered I enjoyed running, but I remember probably telling my friends, like, I want to be like one of the best, I want to be the best in the country or something. I don't know, whatever, little kids do. But I think everybody kind of laughed, and they just didn't see that it was possible. Because I couldn't even run around this field and be first place, at this, relatively small, little elementary school here in upstate New York. And, but getting back to what I was saying is, if you just prepare yourself, if you educate yourself, if you train, maybe just someday, when you fail, you continue to fail, but fail forward. Maybe you will, and someday just reach those goals. And, the interesting thing is, I don't know if I've mentioned on this channel too often, but, a lot of my mindset, just for business and crypto, comes from my running experience. I guess I was probably graduated here in 6th grade, but it wasn't more than about 6 years later. No, not even. It was about 4 years later that I graduated, from this field, running, getting beat by, the kids in my class, that I was I was ranked the #1 sophomore in high school cross-country runner. I ran a race down in South Carolina for USA track and field, and took first place. And so, I don't say that to brag. I am like, I'm proud of it, but it's just part of my life. It's not who I am. And running, comes and goes, and awards come and go, but I think the person that I am, and the ability to want to do better, the ability to persevere, or at least to want to persevere, to want to help others, even when it doesn't look like, you got a shot, and I think that just, these experiences kind of molded me. And, I don't know, it's kind of nice to, to share this with you. I actually didn't, I was actually on my way someplace, and I was like, let me just stop. I'll shoot a quick video. I just want to throw it up on the channel and share with you guys about, Kccpad and Ethpad, because, I know it's time sensitive, and for some, it might be a good opportunity to get into. But, so I didn't anticipate to really, I didn't anticipate to talk about, more and running and perseverance. But, wherever you are, and, this is, I guess, just meant as a word of encouragement, because, even now, like, during the last year and a half, I've kind of, like all of us, we've been stuck inside, well, not completely stuck inside, but you get what I'm saying. We haven't been able to do as much. This threat of this, thing going around the world, which is still very real for many people around the world. Maybe, we didn't keep in touch with friends as much, or maybe we didn't, maybe we're not exercising as much or whatnot. And if you watch the channel, listen, I'm probably not in the greatest shape, but I'm trying to just get outside and walk. And that's why when I shoot some of these videos, if I'm not driving, I try and just get out and walk, encourage folks to just take a couple steps, because a couple steps leads to a couple more steps, and then it becomes a habit. And when we have these habits over time, it can change our lives. And, so, I want to encourage y'all, to get out there, do something good for yourself, and do something good for others, today and this week. And, it could be very small, but just be intentional about it. And, it could be something like, listen, if this video in any way, shape, or form, helps you or is helping you, it doesn't have to be about crypto. If it's just helping you maybe to think about something, or if it's helping you to, if I just want to encourage you, if maybe it's exercise, or maybe it is reconnecting with somebody, that you haven't in a while, or maybe it's trying something new, or maybe it's saying, you know what, maybe you watch this video and you say, you know what, Justin, like, thanks. You encourage me to just try something that I'm scared of today, or do something that, that scares me, even if I fail, because after I listen to you, even if you fail, it's going to make me better somehow, some way. And you may not figure that out for a while, and that's okay. But by the mere fact that sometimes that we just step out, on faith, and just try something, sometimes that's all it takes. So, yeah, I don't know. I've been rambling. I appreciate y'all, sticking with me if you're stuck with me this far. And, if you like the content, like I said, please, do subscribe. It's, this is something that I do, I guess it's a labor of love because I enjoy doing this. But I really do hope that people like yourselves on the other end are taking, positive things, from this, some way, shape, or form. And the reality is, I make a lot of these videos, but I've never really met any of you, right? Unless it's like a friend of mine or something that I know personally around here, that maybe I sent a video to, but that's different, right? But the majority of people are all over the world, all over the this country, and I may never know them, and that's I get it. You can't know right? You can't, it's impossible at this point, right, to know everybody all the time. But, but I guess I'll also say, like, if you are somebody that, maybe you do kind of, you do jive with some of the things I want to, that I say, or just you like me as a person or whatnot, and you think that, maybe we should, collaborate or brainstorm or whatever it might be, become, friends or encourage each other in, exercise or other goals or whatnot, or we can help each other anyway, then, let me know. I think that if you go down in the description below, I think I got a link to my Twitter account. And so, I would say if, find a way, right? If there's a will, there's a way. But find a way if you want to get in touch somehow, to reach out. I personally, at this point, I'm looking for kind of a small, group of people that I can just, bounce some ideas off around, and, some just innovative thinkers that kind of have similar ideas and similar views. If you notice, I'm not usually one to like come on here and just, shill, a project or whatever by this. But listen, I share kind of what I'm feeling because I'm hoping that it's going to help me and help others. But at the end of the day, I realize like everyone's situation is different. So there's not like there's not like one size fits all. And so sometimes it is actually really helpful to bounce some of these ideas off people, especially, and everybody alike. Whether or not you're just new to crypto, or, if you've been in crypto for several years, like I have, everybody's viewpoint is important. Obviously the conversations are different, and I know for me, I've been in crypto for a while, and I know that, most of my friends in my sphere, still, it's, we're 4 or 5 years, maybe they're starting to hear more about Bitcoin or something, things on the news or whatever. But, most people that I know that are not in crypto, they don't really know anything about crypto. They don't really understand anything about it. And if you've been in it, you know what I'm talking about, because it's a learning curve. The first time you learn about Bitcoin, maybe you came for the gains, but then you start to stay for the technology and the revolution, and then you just keep going down the rabbit hole. And here we are. And then getting into decentralized finance, and then, there's always something new and it's exciting, and so I would love to have some people just to kind of, talk about some of these ideas that are in my head sometimes, and just get it out there and have maybe, a platform, whether it's, I don't know how we do it. Maybe, maybe a Telegram, or maybe we do, maybe we do like an Ask Me Anything or something. That's up to, we'll just kind of let it flow naturally, and we'll see where it goes. But anyways, guys, I know that this was quite a video. This was, almost 50 minutes, right? Almost an hour. It's a beautiful day here. I'm going to get on about my day, and, but I just want to say, it was a pleasure for me to be able to take a little bit of time to share, what was on my mind. And, I hope that, it helps you. And I think it helped me a little bit to just kind of, refocus, my thoughts and my direction and some of the strategy and what I'm thinking about, and, what I might be doing in the next, couple weeks or months moving forward. But yeah, I mean, that's all. So, I love all your constructive feedback. I love all your comments. My goal is to just keep building this community here. We're building it slow and steady. I mean, I remember when this channel, when I first started this channel, I'm getting like maybe one view, it's probably myself, and then like a week later, I'm probably getting like 2 or 3 views, because it's probably me watching the same video that I put up like 2 or 3 times, and then a couple weeks later, a couple hundred views, and then, then we're getting, 10, 15 subscribers, and, next thing you know, I mean, I shot a couple videos, that got over 1,000 views, and, then hit the, 50 subscriber, 100 subscriber, now we're, 200 subscriber, and, the goal next is 500 subscribers, and I really think that, we're going to do it. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I just know this is, this is something that I want to do, and I feel like if we've got a really good community, and if we're really providing really good value to a lot of people out there, eventually people are going to find us, and they're going to want to know what we're doing and how to get involved, and hopefully that we are training, if you will, so that we can be some of the fastest crypto people on the planet. How's that? Sounds good. That's how we're going to end it. All right, guys. Take care. I'll talk to you next time. See ya.